Hello, Stitchy friends. How are you all doing? Today is Saturday, May 23rd, May 23rd, 2026. And I decided it was time to do another Stitch With Me video. So I have got my setup ready to go here with my full coverage piece. And I'm just going to stitch for a little bit and have you join me along for this one. So I'll have a video going here of what my stitching looks like, so you should be able to see a little bit of it now. You'll see that I did bring this diagonal down a lot further since the last time you saw it and got into some fun colors, which was actually really exciting. So I got into a little bit of these like tanner, like pinkish colors right here. And then down here, I got into a little bit of red and just a tiny little bit of orange, which was super fun. I know what those are, what's coming, but it's kind of cool to see it take shape like that in this way. I really didn't think this diagonal was going to hit any other colors than just the gray and the yellow, but it did, and that was kind of exciting. So today what I'm going to work on is I'm just going to see how far I can get finishing out this diagonal. So we've got a little bit of the yellow left here, and then we've got this frame to bring down a little bit further. So I'm just going to keep working through that and chat with you as I stitch. Again, I don't think I'm going to have the pattern going today. I'm just going to kind of stitch and chat. So I hope you grab a piece that you want to work on, and we'll just take about the next hour or so to stitch along. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Andrew. This is the Runner Stitcher, which you probably know since you clicked on this video. But welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this is a Stitch With Me video where I'm just going to be kind of stitching and chatting. But I also do Flosstube videos where you can see the rest of my projects that I work on as well. So let's just get started. I'm going to pull up the pattern on my iPad now and we'll get going. Okay, I think I've got my pattern loaded now, so we're going to go ahead and start the stitching. This is very exciting. I worked on this one day this week because this piece I just can't seem to get enough of. I really just enjoy working on this. I love seeing the diagonal sort of come together. I'm happy so far with the detail that I'm seeing, and yeah, I just enjoy working on it. It's funny when I start this piece, it's like I always tell myself, okay, just 1 or 2 rows, and then suddenly hours later I'm still stitching on this piece. So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep my left hand out of the zoomed in camera where the stitching is, because I know that can be annoying. I think I did that more on the last video than the previous ones. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind as I stitch, but hopefully you can see sort of what I'm working on here. Again, this is the mystery piece that I'm working on, where I'm not sort of sharing what the pattern is, but having you kind of guess as we go. Or if you don't want to guess, that's fine too. You can just kind of watch along as it is revealed. So. And I'm using the parking method, as you can see. That's why I have so many strands kind of parked and off to the side here. There definitely will be a little bit of my hand going across because of how I park my threads, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So how are you doing? How was your week? I hope you had a good one. I hope you got to do lots of fun things. My week was fairly busy, but in a good way. I think since I finally have the security of knowing that I have a job lined up and that, you know, there's financial security there too, I think I was just able to kind of let myself enjoy this last week of unemployment and kind of treat it almost like it's a vacation. And that felt really nice because in the past, few months, I haven't really been able to do that because I've always been still sort of worried about money and what's going to come next and how I'm going to pay my bills and all that. So there was a sense of economic or financial stress that came along with things. And now that I don't have to worry as much about that, I was just able to enjoy the week. So I think I mentioned on my Flosstube, I went to the beach on Tuesday. I was able to have dinner with some friends on Monday evening, which was really nice. I went to a coffee shop the other day and just sort of spent a few hours just relaxing in the coffee shop and drinking coffee. That was very nice. And I was able to take Winston on longer walks and just kind of enjoy my time, how I want to be spending it. And that was that was really nice. So it's been a good week. I did have to work a little bit for my part-time bookkeeping gig, but that's sort of the only kind of work I did. And I think I just did that in the wrong place. I did. But yeah, just a really good week. I feel so lucky and blessed that I've had the support of all of you and this channel throughout the last 4 months. I really don't know what I would have done without it, and the friends that I've made here and the connections that we all have. That's really what got me through the last few months that were a very tough period for me. And I just feel really grateful to sort of be coming out on the other side of that now, and for having an opportunity to have work sort of lined up, and just feel really, really blessed and trying to soak that all in. So I really can't complain about all of that. And even though the job isn't, exactly my ideal job in the sense of I'd love to be able to work remotely again, because I do really enjoy that, and really enjoy kind of being able to make my sort of schedule with that. So this job is in person, and will definitely be an adjustment to go back into an office and all that comes with that. But I still just feel really grateful to have gotten this job, and especially in the way the job market is right now, it's really rough out there. And if any of you are looking for work, or somebody who's looking for work, I just encourage you to keep going, keep trying. I know it's frustrating. I know it's hard. Eventually something will work out, but it's rough out there right now. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. It's a lot of companies that end up just not following up with you and sort of ghosting you. It's a lot of AI scanners turning down your resume, even though the job is literally what you did before. So it can be really frustrating. And it's tough. But I just encourage you all to hang in there, keep going, and just to trust that good things are coming. I know that's, it's so much easier to say than it is to do. And definitely moments where I felt like that was not true for me. But here I am. And I guess let that be a testament that, it can happen. We can get through this hard part. So yeah, I'm excited. I start the new position on Tuesday, right after Memorial Day. So I get to enjoy the rest of the long weekend, and then start back on Tuesday. And yeah, I'll keep you all posted how it goes. I am excited to just sort of see how it is. Anytime you're starting in a new job, the first, I would say even the first month is just kind of learning and understanding the dynamics of the office, learning the business, learning the, how the office gets along with each other, how you fit with your coworkers, all of that. So it'll be a lot to take in, but I am really excited to sort of learn something new and take my bookkeeping skills kind of to the next level, and who knows where it will lead from there. So I think it will be a good thing. One of the good things is that I will be able to work remotely at least one day a week, so I won't have to go into the office every single day, but yeah, that's definitely a perk. So now if you'll notice what I did here, this stitch that I just did right here, that's the last stitch in this area of that color, so I don't need it anymore. So I pull it over just a couple blocks so that I can still park in the next two diagonals without this interrupting it. And then I just sort of do a stitch right here to kind of secure the thread. And then that lets me end the thread from the front of my project because I don't have to turn it over to run the thread under anything. And what happens is as I stitch this next diagonal, behind this, the thread will get secured. So that's kind of how I end my threads on a piece like this without having to turn it over. I know there's a number of different methods you can use, but that's kind of the one that I've chosen. So I'm going to try to not wobble the camera. Hopefully it's steady. So yeah, I decided I wanted to do some more stitching on this piece today because it's just been calling my name. So I've only made it through one of my Mania pieces this week, but I did work on that yesterday and got the stitches required in it. I have a little bit of work to do on it yet, but for the most part, that goal is completed. And the next one up, I do need a little bit of time to dedicate to it. So I probably will maybe try to work on that tomorrow. I don't think I really have any plans on Sunday, and it's supposed to be kind of rainy and cloudy here, so I might just stay in and stitch and see if I can work through that one. That's a little more tedious. Okay. I don't know how far we'll get on this one today. I kind of don't think we'll get the whole diagonal completed, but we'll see how much I can get done and how far I can get while I stitch with you. If I don't complete the diagonal, I think I'd like to try to do that outside of the stitch with me before I put this piece down for the week, because I think that would be a good place to get to finish this diagonal, and then next week be ready to start the next one. I'm still trying to find the best method for parking with needles, and I've still been trying out the needle Park Avenue threaders, but I haven't been using them as much. I've basically just been letting my needles sort of dangle over the edge of the fabric and then just kind of pulling them up one by one as I need them. And no matter what, when you have a lot of confetti, it's tough to manage all those threads. There's just no way around it. But that way sort of has been kind of working well. But I haven't given up on the needle Park Avenue. I just haven't been showing it on here because I've still been testing different ways to use it when I'm doing it on my own, and I don't really need to be testing that while I'm on the camera with you. It just kind of gets me a little sidetracked. So I kind of do that on my own, and hopefully eventually I will come back to you with a method that kind of works for me. To use those needle Parker things. And who knows, maybe they're just not for me. Maybe they're just not meant to be what I use and what I enjoy using, and that's totally fine too, you know. We all have different ways we enjoy stitching and like to stitch, and maybe that one is just not my method, kind of thing. Yesterday I was able to do some editing on 2 new walking videos, so I think I'll probably be posting one of those later on in the day today, and then the other one sort of maybe later in the week. But they're 2 that I'm excited about. Watching them back was a lot of fun, and I hope you'll enjoy them. Hope you'll enjoy stitching along with them as well. It's also supposed to be rainy here today, so I told myself, okay, if it's going to rain all weekend, I need to get up early this morning and beat the rain and go for a run. So at least I have some exercise and some, outdoor time before the rain hits. So that's what I did. I got up, I managed to get out of bed, and I did a 5-mile run this morning. It actually went really well. I was surprised how fast I was. Especially, I haven't been running quite as much this week. I decided to just take the week off after my race, since I didn't have anything lined up that I was training for, and thought it'd be a good time to just kind of rest my body a little bit. So it was nice to get back out there today, but I was surprised how fast I was. I think my pacing was like an 8-minute mile pace, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, went for a run, came home, took Winston for his walk, let him outside, and then made some breakfast. I made scrambled eggs with avocado and toast in a sandwich, and that was delicious. I don't usually have like such a big breakfast. Breakfast is usually kind of a smaller meal for me, of maybe just granola or yogurt, but on the weekends I do like to do a little extra. So I made myself eggs and a sandwich, which was really good. I'm gonna go ahead and end this thread because it's getting just about short enough that I can't use it anymore. I do really enjoy this process on the diagonal too, because it's like just when you're getting tired of working in one color, that's about the time that you switch. And I think I just split that thread. I did. But that's about the time that you start switching into a new color. And so I find I don't really tire as quickly because I'm just enjoying the different colors I get to stitch with and sort of how they sort of blend into each other. So like here we're getting into these darker browns, and then we'll get into these purples of the frame instead of just being in the yellows. And I don't know. I just find that all very fun to be kind of switching colors and still seeing it all come together as we stitch together. Just trying to figure out here where I need to park this thread. I think I can park it up here. That will be fine. I'd love to know what your Memorial Day weekend plans are. Do you have any picnics planned or anything like that? Again, like I said, it's supposed to be cold and rainy here this weekend, so I can't imagine too many picnics are happening here in the city. But I do remember growing up, Memorial Day weekend was always a fun weekend because my aunts and uncles and my cousins would all come over and we'd have a picnic or a cookout at one of our houses, usually involving a fire pit and somebody cooking on the grill and lots of good food, hamburgers and fries, or hamburgers and hot dogs, I mean. It was always like a fun time. And then we usually kind of kept the grill or kept the fire going late at night, and we'd all sort of sit around the fire and just chat and share stories and things. And I always loved those weekends. Those were always a lot of fun. And now I miss them, because I don't really get to do. First of all, we don't really have the space here to do cookouts. No one has a backyard that we can all just chill in. It's a little different here in the city, but I do miss those cookouts with family. So I'd love to know, what are your Memorial Day plans? What do you have sort of lined up? What do you have going? Hopefully you have some fun things to do, or at least, see family or friends. And if not, maybe it's going to be a rainy weekend for you too, and maybe you can just get a lot of stitching in, which also is just kind of ideal, right? It's like there's nothing wrong with a stitchy weekend. Now I need to grab this new color, 745. I love when I go to grab a new color and it's already on a needle. I know I've said that before, but you can just get going really easily. I think I've kind of decided, I know I shared in my last Flosstube video, the silk and the fabric I was thinking about for little acorns that I've been thinking about for a while, and I think I am going to start it. I think I've finally decided, and I thought it'd be a nice way to sort of commemorate this new chapter with a new start, and And I can always remember this modern folk embroidery piece was this new chapter that I was starting with this new job. So I think probably on Tuesday evening after I get back from work, I will start it as sort of like a first day of work kind of piece. Hopefully I won't be too burnt out after the first day, because obviously the first day is just all learning, so it can be a lot sometimes. But yeah, hopefully I can have the energy to have a new start when I get home, or at least have that to look forward to when I get back. So that will be yet another deviation from my mania plans. That seems to be the theme this year. And honestly, that's okay. I'm alright with that. Sometimes that's what happens, and life plans just kind of change up what you think you're going to do. And I'm still happy with the progress I've made through Mania. I think by the end of the month I will get through the list. And I just might not be able to add any new ones. But I think I'll at least get through the list of the projects that I had done last year. So that's fine with me. I was talking to my Patreon members a little bit the other day, and I was telling them that I might just add, so my next WIPCO goal, my next WIPCO goal is Elizabeth Masterton, which is funny because she's been kind of being neglected from Whip into Shape this month anyway, but she's my WIPCO goal, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get to her or not. So I think what I'm going to do is just add her to the bottom of my Mania list, and then when I get through the list, just work on her next instead of spinning the wheel. And then hopefully you'll be able to get the 500 stitches in for WIPCO and for Mania. Although as I say that out loud, I'm like, wow, that would be 1,000 stitches that need to go in for her. And that seems like a lot. So I don't know what will happen. Maybe that WIPCO goal will just not get completed this month. It's just been a busier month. I am happy to say, though, that I was good at Spring Mingle and didn't buy anything. Typically, I can't resist that shopping haul. Steph does such a great job in the event of sort of organizing and curating everything based on colors and themes, and so I always get suckered into it, which is a good thing. But this time I was able to withstand So I didn't purchase anything. I really thought about getting Jacob's pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery. He had an exclusive at Spring Mingle that I really liked, but I didn't. Passed on it. I figured, you know what? If I want to start little acorns, that can be my sort of Jacob stitch for a while. And I actually can't even remember if I actually bought that pattern or not. So I might have to make a purchase here next week to buy the PDF. But I've been kitting it up in my mind for so long that I can't remember if I actually bought the pattern or not. Here we've got one of these little confetti stitches that there's just one stitch of this color. Nothing else of this color anywhere nearby as far as I can see right now. And I think that is the true meaning of a confetti stitch, when it's just one stitch of a color. I think I use confetti a lot in the wrong way, where it's just like a lot of color changing, and I call that confetti. Sorry, I just blocked everything I just did with my hand. I need to get used to that. But I think confetti in the true sense is just where it's just one stitch of a color and there's nothing else around it of that color. And now here, since that was a darker color and there was just that one stitch, I could park it over here with all the rest of those, but I don't really want the darker color running underneath these lighter yellows. So that's why I've been parking sort of the darker colors down here. And that's what I'm going to do again. So I'm just going to bring this right here and park it down here, so that by the time I stitch, this diagonal, it will still be, the thread will be covered, but it'll be covered under darker stitches, so it won't be as noticeable. So that's kind of why I park in different places depending on what the color is. I just try to be a little conscious of that. I think you have to worry about it less in full coverage, but I think it still can be an issue when you're running like really dark threads behind really light threads, and just kind of want to avoid as much of that as possible if I can. I love when I get back to these sort of purpley colors of the frame, because it means we're getting close to the end of the diagonal. Now with this next stitch, I think this color is actually right here. So rather than start a new thread just for this sort of like one stitch, I'm going to take what I have left, which actually isn't much thread. You can kind of see there's not much left. So I'm going to do this one stitch, but then I'm actually going to park it over to the left instead of bringing it back down with the rest of the stitches, because there's more stitches that go further south here of this color. But I'm going to start a new thread for that part, because I know that will keep carrying through the frame as we go further down. And so since there's not much floss left, I'm going to stitch that next stitch And then I'm going to bring it over here and park it. Because I think that's sort of more a one-off stitch right there. And then I'll just end the thread. So these are the kind of decisions that I make as I go along. And again, there's no right or wrong of how to stitch these things. So you just kind of do what makes sense for you in the moment. And go with what works for you. I think maybe also that's part of the fun for me of stitching a piece, of stitching this method, is that you're constantly kind of figuring out your next like move, your next path, where you want the thread to go. And it's kind of like a fun puzzle to figure out and put together while you're stitching, of knowing like what stitch path to go to. So I think I mentioned in my last Stitch With Me that I was watching the morning show because I had Apple TV Plus, a subscription at the moment, and I finished season 4, so I finished all the seasons that are out. So I think the next season is being filmed currently, but I'm up to date with everything. I didn't love season 4 as much as the other ones. It just didn't really cut it for me as much, but still enjoyable, I think. Anyway, now I have moved on to Severance, which I know I'm like probably way far behind everyone else in this show because I think it's been around for a number of years now. I think there's only 2 seasons, so I flew through the first season and now I'm watching and catching up with season 2, and I am loving it. It is so suspenseful. It's basically this idea that you can separate your memories and your brain from your work self and your home life self. So when you're at home, you don't know anything about your job or what you do, and when you're at work, you don't know anything about your home, and it kind of keeps the work home balance separate. But boy, is it interesting, and I've really enjoyed it, especially as I think about going back to work. I'm like, it's like probably not the best show to be watching as I return to the office, but I really have been enjoying it. It's been a very suspenseful, very well written, very well acted show. Now you'll see right here, I've got this part thread that is going to get in the way of this diagonal. So now is when I'm going to take this out, and I'll basically just trim this as close as I can. To the fabric. That out of the way so I can keep stitching. I'm going to try real quick. Hopefully he doesn't move, but I'm going to try to show you a little friend. He's just sacked out. It's almost like he finds it calming to listen to my voice and puts him right to sleep, which I think is hilarious. Hopefully I got the camera back about where I was, but he's sort of always here on my recliner when I'm stitching. He likes to be there and just kind of, uses it to get a nap in. It's funny though, because he is a dog that sort of watches TV, meaning he looks for things on the TV, and especially looks for like dogs or pets. And so when I have the TV on, it's like he really can't settle because he's got to be like looking for things and making sure none of these dogs come through the TV screen and try to, I don't know what, take over our little home. So really when I'm stitching without the TV, that's when he can rest. So sometimes I just enjoy stitching with like music or an audiobook so that he can also just rest while I stitch. When the TV's on, he's like much more active. But yeah, I've been starting to sort of get him prepared for what it will be like when I'm gone all day long. Because he's definitely used to having me around. He's definitely used to having, even when I'm here working from home, I was still home. And so he is going to have quite an adjustment when I'm gone from 9 to 5 for a couple days in a row. And so I've been trying to like get him used to the habit of not going out in the middle of the day. And we've been trying to like stretch out the time from the morning walk to the evening walk to get him ready for everything. I don't think he knows fully what's coming, but he'll adjust. I think it will be rough for him the first couple of days, maybe the first week, but I know he'll adjust eventually. He'll probably have so much energy when I get home in the evenings now because he will have just slept all day. So I might have to take him on like extra long walks in the evening or something to run off some of his energy. It's okay, Winston. It's just people in the hallway. It's okay. It's okay. He is definitely a guard dog. He loves when he hears people in the hallway and he feels like he can protect our home from them. So he's definitely a guard dog when we are in this space. I almost think it might be worse because we just have a studio, so it's just one room, and he really feels like he owns the whole room, so he owns the whole apartment. And it's not like, in the old place he had sort of the office was a separate room, and so that's kind of where most of his things were. And so he kind of protected his room, but not the whole house. And here it's like, because it's just one room, he feels like he needs to protect it. So he gets very... he just has to alert me to anything he hears in the hallways outside. I think we're about 45 minutes in, so we are definitely not going to finish this diagonal. I feel like I still have no concept of how long it takes to complete a diagonal or complete stitches. But yeah, we are definitely not going to finish this diagonal on this call. But hey, every little stitch counts, right? But hopefully, and maybe by the next Flosstube video, the diagonal will be complete. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more time to work on it outside of this video, and I'll be able to get that done so that we can see a full diagonal here. We definitely have had, I meant to say this earlier, but we definitely have had more correct guesses now of what this motif is. So that's exciting. Some of you are starting to get it. Not necessarily what the whole pattern is, but what this motif is. And that's been fun. It's been fun if you're enjoying the guessing part of this. Hopefully in the quiet moments of this, you're able to hear the needle and thread just going through the fabric. Hopefully my mic is picking that up. I did really enjoy last Stitch With Me. I asked you to share what was sort of like the highlight of your week or what was a good moment in your week. And I just loved reading all the responses. That was just really neat to hear different perspectives of what sort of brought joy to your week or what was kind of the highlight of your week. And I really just appreciated that. So thank you all for sharing. And if you, my nose is itchy. If you need a little pick-me-up, go back and read the comments of that video and just hear what everybody had to share about things that were the highlights of their week. I think it's always good to focus on the positive things, and one way to do that is hear sort of the good things that are happening in other people's lives, because sometimes you'll hear that and then you'll realize, oh, I'm actually grateful for that too, or that actually means a lot to me too. And I think that's really encouraging. That's what I love about my Patreon members. We have a daily gratitude journal, and you don't have to post every single day, but it's really nice to go in there and just see what other people are grateful for in that day and just kind of remind yourself oh yeah, I can be grateful for that too on certain days. And so I really enjoyed hearing all of the highlights from your week from the previous week. So that was really cool. Some of you have been asking what my next race will be now that the Brooklyn half is over. And to be honest, I don't have anything lined up. I have nothing set in stone, nothing scheduled for my next race. So I need to start thinking about that and looking at where to go or what to do for my next race for. I do think the next big one I'll be running will be the London Marathon in 2027. And that will be next April, I think it is. So hopefully I'll get into that, and that will be the next big one to run. We'll probably go back to a regular whip into shape challenge with my running and have that culminate in the London Marathon. So stay tuned for more information about that as we get closer. And once, I think if it's in April, training will probably start like November. So still have a ways to go, but I will keep you posted. And I'm sure maybe I'll look for another half marathon locally here that I can run, because I do enjoy that distance and the training isn't as taxing, and it is always fun to just do a race and be able to enjoy it running with other people. So I'm sure I'll look for another race to add to the books. I just don't have anything scheduled at the moment. in a way, I'm kind of excited for a cloudier, rainy weekend because, well, first of all, I get to do this Stitch With Me with you, and not feel guilty about being inside and stitching, but also later today I get to do my monthly Zoom stitch with my Patreon members, and that is always so much fun. We always have a great time kind of catching up and stitching together and seeing what everyone is working on. There's some really great projects that people are doing, and yeah, that's always fun. So I get to do that this afternoon, which will be a lot of fun. So a stitchy Saturday on a rainy day is nice and cozy. Need another sip of my coffee, sorry. It's amazing how thirsty you get when you're just talking on a Stitch With Me video. I should also have some water here, but so far I've only got my coffee going today. So as I said earlier, kind of at the beginning of the video with where I got to on this diagonal, I think you can see it, but these orange two colors right here is sort of the next fun thing we'll get to see in the following diagonal. And then I think the next diagonal there will also be like a new color coming in around here. So at least it's like we're seeing things already, you know, and someone did mention this in a comment, but they said, you know, some full coverage pieces, there's so much in the background that you don't really see anything come to life too quickly. And with this piece, it's like we kind of jump right into it. Once we got past this initial like corner up here, you know, we kind of got right into some detail, which makes it more fun, at least for me. I think that we don't have to slog through background stitching, and probably makes it more fun for you because now you can be guessing as to what it is. And we'll just keep stitching slowly by slowly, and we'll touch new motifs and new things, and I think it'll be a fun journey, even though we'll take a while. I was trying to think of how I'm going to fit this piece in with my new schedule, because I do like to dedicate sort of like a large chunk of time to this piece when I stitch on it. And so I think Sundays may be the best day for me to kind of sit down and work on this piece. So it might be that Sundays are the new stitch with me time where we work on this piece together. And maybe for now we'll just get that one day a week. And then further down the road I can incorporate it more into plans, and we can see how I can kind of keep it coming out for more than just that one day. Because although one day a week is fun to stitch on, and I am able to see progress, it's not going to complete the piece if I just stitch on it one day a week because it's so big. So I'm going to have to find other ways to keep it going. Like I said before, full coverage has just really been what I want to stitch on lately. I really just enjoy this process, and it kind of has been very, calming, kind of therapeutic for me. So it's just kind of what I go to now. And don't get me wrong, Mania has been fun too. It's been great to sort of see some of the old pieces I haven't worked on in a while, and kind of reminds me why I love them as well. Working on all my Fancy Ladies, it kind of reminded me like, oh yeah, this is why I enjoy stitching on Fancy Ladies so much. They are really, really fun, and a very different kind of stitching, a very different way of stitching. So I do really enjoy them still. But something about these full coverage pieces just really have my attention at the moment. Even, I keep thinking about Under the Oaks, which, I worked on a lot in Florida and haven't really worked on too much since I got back, and I stopped temperature stitching for the month of May. But I keep thinking about that piece, and I'm like, I want to get back to it. But again, it's full coverage. It's something I'm stitching in the diagonal, and I think that whole process and method is just really what I need at the moment. Here I can definitely see why stitching like sort of lighter colors, or these yellows that are almost white, or even white on this fabric, would be really tricky. So I don't know how some of you do it with all that white background for like Christmas pieces or things. That seems very challenging to see what you've stitched, what you haven't stitched, because I even find it difficult sometimes with these yellows, and even these lighter grays up in here were kind of tough to get through. Or at least like just tough to see, like, did I cross that X? Did I make? Or is that just a half stitch? sometimes it's hard to tell. Nice little row here of the same color, this yellow. That's always exciting. It really is the little things in life, isn't it? That bring us joy. 5 stitches of the same yellow in a row. That's what brings me joy. Park that up there for next time. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the camera with my head. Apologies. Still getting used to this whole setup of where everything is and what I can't bump into. Hopefully that wasn't too shaky for you. But I think the setup for the Stitch With Me has gotten easier for sure. It didn't take me near as long to sort of get things in the right place today, which is nice. I guess it just means I'm getting more familiar with the setup and how everything is. But and don't get me wrong, I do really enjoy these. It's not like I'm complaining about having to set up the cameras and everything. It just, I'm just glad it's going a little easier now, so I can enjoy it even more. Now that I know sort of the routine and what I need to put where. You know, now that I've been using this Q-snap kind of on this project for a number of weeks now, I did want to ask, do you find that when your Q-snap just sort of sits in a space when you're not using it, when you come back to use it, like after a few days or a week or something, do you find that it has loosened and that you need to retighten it? I don't know if that's just me or not, but I have it pretty tight and pretty taut right now. But typically when I come back after a few days, I have to retighten it. It's like it kind of loosened up on its own. So does that happen to you too? Or is that just a me problem? You know, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of stitching browns necessarily. I tend to go for the more bright colors, but I don't know, something about this frame, the way these browns sort of really come together and add a little bit of texture to the frame. Maybe it's also because there's these little pops of orange throughout it that it's like, okay, well, it's not all brown. There's a little bit of color in there. I don't mind it. I really kind of enjoy stitching the browns. maybe I will finish out this row, maybe the next row with you, and then I will call it for right now. Since I'm kind of at a good stopping point. I don't know if you can hear the kids playing outside, but where I live there's an alley behind the apartment, so it's not actually a street that people drive on. It's just for people who park their cars back there who live along this stretch, and so a lot of times the kids will, from the families here, will just play. So I don't know if you can hear that or not. Okay, we need one more color here to finish up this row. The shading of these pieces, of these full coverage pieces, is just so fun to see come together, because you don't really get that in regular cross stitch patterns because you can't use that many colors, whereas here you can use so many different colors and the shading really just comes through. So like even the dimension and all of this yellow right here I think looks really beautiful. Okay, Winston. Even when you think these yellows are basically the same color, there can't be that much difference. And then you really see it all come together, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, that really does add the shading when the colors are so close together, but they blend very nicely. All right, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for now. So we got a good chunk of this in, I think. Let's see how many stitches we added today. Today was, wow, okay, not too bad. 114 stitches. That's great. So thank you for sitting with me as we got 114 stitches in. Let me know how many you were able to get into your project or if you made good progress. Thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, until the next time, hopefully I will finish this diagonal. I would like to do that before my next Flosstube, just finish this out. And then hopefully the next time you see me, we'll get into some more fun things in the next diagonal. But hopefully you can see even more now what this is all looking like here. Maybe have a better idea what it's going to be. But anyway, I think that's all I've got for you today. So thank you again for joining me. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I hope you enjoy it and get lots of stitchy time in. And I will talk to you soon in my next Flosstube. And then I'll be able to tell you how my first week of work is. So that's all I've got. But I'll talk to you soon. Bye.